Do you think you might have a thyroid problem? And do you just wonder why that's happened and what you can do about it? Very often people feel they have all the symptoms of thyroid. They don't sleep well, wake up in the morning feeling exhausted, no energy all day, pain, losing their hair, skin, and nails. And so then what's the first thing someone would do? I would go to the clinic, right? And get a test. And based on that test, they might get a medication. But very often the test results come back normal, or very often people are trying medication and they still have all these symptoms. Now, if that's you, I'm guessing that you're probably very frustrated when you still have all these problems and yet you feel like you've done all of the things that you know to do. Well, there is an answer. There is another way. I believe that God designed the body to heal when we remove the interference and we give it what it needs. And that happens with our clients every single time. When they do what we teach them to do, they get better, because that's the way God made our bodies. God designed us to heal. So the challenge is finding what's causing the problem. Doesn't it just make sense that in order to solve any problem, we need to identify and remove the cause, right? Sounds simple, doesn't it? So let's talk about what might be causing the symptoms of thyroid condition. 80% of the chronic degenerative conditions that people suffer from today are caused by cellular inflammation. So let's talk about cellular inflammation, what it is, and then we'll talk about what causes it, where it comes from. So when you have every cell in your body, in fact, let's back up a little bit. Which of your organs are made up of cells? All of them, exactly. It was not a trick question. All of your organs, every tissue in your body is made up of cells. When there's inflammation at the cellular level, you could get all of these thyroid symptoms, but then what else do you think is going to happen next? You'll just keep getting more and more dysfunction in more and more organs, and that's what usually happens. By the time the average American is 40 years old, they're on some kind of medication for a chronic degenerative condition. By the time they're 60, they're on multiple medications. So if you want to choose a different path, that's what we're going to talk about. Every cell in your body has 2 layers of fat on the outside. We need that to be good fat, but that's a topic for another day. You also have receptors for all of your hormones. Let's think about when you're talking on your cell phone and you lose the call. Why does that happen? Is it because your cell phone's a piece of trash? No, it's because you lost reception, right? When there's inflammation at the cellular level, those hormone receptors can get burned out. So the hormone doesn't work, just like when your cell phone drops reception. Or here's a better analogy. My grandparents had been married forever. My granddaddy could hear perfectly well. My grandmother could speak perfectly well. But very often she would talk and talk and talk, and he didn't hear a word she said. His renal receptors were burned out. So let's say that this is your T3 receptor. A light bulb probably went off in your head right now, didn't it? If this is your T3 receptor, you could have perfect levels of T3 on your test, but if the receptor's burned out, the cell can't get the message. Wow. T3 is the active hormone. T3 is the hormone that controls all of those symptoms. And if the receptor is burned out, it might not be a problem with the hormone. The problem could be the receptor getting burned out by the inflammation. So are you wondering now, okay, that sounds like that might be my problem. What's causing the inflammation? That would be our next logical question, wouldn't it? I'm glad you asked that question. Let's talk about the causes of cellular inflammation. Number 1 sugars and grains. Now that's the good news. You can control that. And we have other videos that teach you how to do that easily. Because if you have a weight problem, I'm guessing you've probably tried a carb restrictive diet or a calorie counting diet that probably didn't work. If you go back to that cell receptor, the reason a diet might not have worked is, what if this is your leptin receptor? Leptin is the hormone that tells your body to burn fat for fuel. If you have tried to go on a diet and haven't lost weight, it could be that your leptin receptor is burned out. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we could solve both of those problems with one strategy? So number one problem is sugars and grains. Number two is bad fats. However, healthy fat is the number one most lacking ingredient in the standard American diet. We have a PDF download that you can ask for that lists for you what are the bad fats and what are the good fats. You need to probably add good fats to your diet, and when you do that, it makes it really easy to avoid the grains and sugars, which is one of the biggest downfalls in the typical diet, is cravings. Because you're trying to just willpower your way not to eat sugars and grains. What if we try the opposite approach and we empower your body, give it what it needs, give it some good fat? Then it's easier to avoid the sugars and grains. So you could eat the perfect diet. You do need to eat a good diet to have a healthy body. That just makes sense, right? But you could eat a perfect diet and still have a thyroid problem caused by cellular inflammation, because the number 3 cause of cellular inflammation is toxins. Toxins cause about 90% of the cellular inflammation that we're suffering with today. And when that inflammation is at the cellular level, it could be affecting any organ. It is likely to affect one organ and then another and then another and then another. Let's talk a little bit about toxins then. That's probably what you're wondering. What about toxins? Toxins are poisons, and they are everywhere in our environment. I'm going to give you kind of 3 categories. Number 1, we have toxic metals like lead and lime, arsenic, cadmium, things like that. Anytime someone has had a mercury amalgam filling, that mercury vaporizes and is stored in the brain even after the filling is removed. Now, don't go get amalgam fillings removed tomorrow. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. It can make you worse if you do it the wrong way. So you have to do that the right way, because that mercury is poison. Lead was in our water and in our gasoline until the late 70s. It was in the pipes in our houses. It was in the pipes, which caused it to be in the water, until the late 80s. It was in the paint until the late 70s. And lead gets passed down 4 generations. So the toxic problem starts accumulating before you were even conceived. The second category would be mold. And anytime you live in a humid environment, there's a big risk of mold. If the toilet overflows, if the dishwasher overflows, and even if it gets dried up quickly, think about that dishwasher. We typically don't pull the dishwasher out and be sure that it got dry behind the dishwasher. And there's enough humidity in the air for that mold to start to grow. The third one, and actually that goes along with mold, is co-infections. Then the third category could be chemicals. There's chemicals in the air, there's chemicals in our water, there's chemicals in our skincare products and our personal care products and our laundry products, and those can build up over time. So let's think about your body as having a bucket. And let's say your mom had mercury fillings. Let's say that you or she got a vaccination. Those have toxic metals in them. Let's say that you or your mom, I know if you're alive today, that either you or your mom at least lived in the lead generation. Actually, let me take that back. It's possible for someone who was not born in the lead generation to have children right now. My kids are old enough to have kids right now. However, their lead was off the chart because my lead was high. We get it 4 generations. So then you also could have toxins building up in your body because of your personal care products, aluminum in deodorant, preservatives in skincare products, aluminum in skincare products, toxins like fragrance. Anything that's called fragrance is probably a chemical toxin. And if that's in your shampoo, you're breathing it all day long, and it's on the skin, on your scalp, where there's a lot of circulation. Then let's think about if you've ever had something like bronchitis or mono. Those co-infections could continue to be in your body. Mold could be a problem. For some people, if they get out of the mold exposure, they can start to get better. Some people won't get better until they detoxify that toxin from their bodies. So you see now that, wow, it can be a pretty big problem, can't it? And doing a 30-day cleanse that you can buy at the drugstore is not going to remove these toxins because the toxins are stored at the cellular level. Your body will add fat cells to store the toxins. That's another reason that some people have trouble losing weight. It's because there's toxins and your body's not going to release those fat cells because it would release toxins that could make you feel worse. When there's mercury in the body, it is then stored in the brain. So the real way to detoxify the body, to truly get lasting results, is to detoxify at the cellular level. And that's what all of our programs are focused on. We have several different programs because each of you has different needs. Some of you might be ready just to make some changes in your diet, get the toxins out of your diet, get some toxins out of your environment, your personal care products, your household cleaning supplies. We have a great program for that. Or some of you may have been sick so long that you're ready to do whatever it takes to get better. And we have programs for that too. Check out the videos that we have on our website, Health for a Purpose, and you can get some information about our programs. Check us out on YouTube. We have lots of videos there that can describe our programs for you. Put a message in this video in the comments below if you're interested. Let us know if you're interested in making a couple of changes or if you're ready to do whatever it takes to get better. We have some things we'd be happy to share with you because I would love to see you get your life back for your family, for your friends, for yourself, so that you can truly enjoy your life and be able to be the person that God designed you to be, free from the distraction and the burden of disease. I hope you'll make that choice today to start getting your life back, because I know that you can heal.